Good morning, everybody. It's your favorite aspiring revolutionary here, a wandering author, reminding you that we are all the authors of our own lives. As always, my message remains the same. Spend lives to live more, earn your freedom with reality. And today we are moving on to question number 9 from St. Thomas's Summa Theologica, which is on the immutability of God. So the next 2 points of inquiry or the immutability are on immutability and eternity. So immutability refers to the supposed unchanging nature of God's character and will. St. Thomas addresses this in 2 questions: whether God is altogether immutable, and whether to be immutable belongs to God alone. So, in the first article, whether God is altogether immutable. Some may claim that God is mutable, for whatever moves itself must change in some way. Even wisdom is said to be more mobile than all things active, in the book of Wisdom 7:24, and God is said to be wisdom itself. Also, to move toward or away from something signifies movement, and in James 4:8 it says, "Draw nigh to God, and he will draw nigh to you." On the contrary, it is written in Malachi 3:6, "I am the Lord, and I change not." St. Thomas responds by saying that God is altogether immutable, and this can be shown. God is the first being and is pure action without potential. Anything that changes must possess potential in some way, so God must not be changeable in any way. Furthermore, Aquinas have shown God to be altogether simple, and all moving parts belong to a composition. If God is true simplicity, there can be no change in him. When something moves, it acquires something by its movement. However, God is the infinite perfection of all being, so nothing new is to be acquired in him. So some of the ancients, constrained as it were by the truth, decided that the first principle was immovable. Wisdom is said to be mobile by way of diffusion, for nothing can exist which does not proceed from the divine wisdom by way of some kind of imitation, as from the first effective and formal principle, as also works of art proceed from the wisdom of the artist. Whether to be immutable belongs to God alone. It may appear as if more than God alone is immutable. Aristotle said in the 2nd book of his Metaphysics that matter is in everything which is moved, but some claim that certain creations, like angels and souls, are matterless. All things in motion have an end, but what has attained its ultimate end is motionless, and if the heavenly beings have achieved this, would they not be immutable? Further, what is immutable is variable, but the forms do not vary, for form is essence and consists of simple unchanging elements, so it would appear that not only God is immutable. On the contrary, though, Augustine says God alone is immutable, and whatever things he has made, being from nothing, are mutable. St. Thomas's response is that God is the only thing immutable, and every creature is in some way mutable. Mutability can be found in 2 flavors. Something is mutable through a power in itself or through the power of another. If we look at creatures, we can see that all were possible before they existed, but something called them into existence, namely God. Therefore, the creature's existence depends on the will of God, and so does its preservation. If his action were removed, so would their existence be removed. Therefore, as it was in the Creator's power to produce them before they existed in themselves, so likewise it is in the Creator's power when they exist in themselves to bring them to nothing. Things can also be mutable through a power in themselves, and all creatures possess 2 powers, active and passive. Passive powers enable beings to attain perfection in being or its end. If a thing's mutability is considered according to its power for being, only those with potential for not being are mutable. Inferior bodies can have mutable substantial forms and accidental forms, but only if the subject can exist with privation to an accident. A man's color may change, but snow is always white. Matter is not consistent with loss of form in the celestial bodies, so they are not mutable as regards substantial form. Their substance cannot change, only their location. Incorporeal beings may not be deprived of existence, and in this way are immutable. Thus, Dionysius says, intellectual created substances are pure from generation and from every variation, as also are incorporeal and immaterial substances. These beings still possess a certain form of mutability. They can choose good or evil, and by their limitations may vary location. So we can see all things are mutable. In things subject to corruption, their substantial form may change, while celestial beings may only vary in location. All creation is mutable by the Creator's will as well. Good angels have been given a natural endowment of immutability of choice for the divine, but are still mutable as regards place. So we can see that the only truly immutable creature is God himself. As always, my message remains the same: spend less, live more. And my question remains the same to you guys. What are y'all doing in order to inspire, uplift, and empower your local community today? Because this world isn't changing unless we all do our part. And you can count on me to do mine daily. Until next time, love y'all.